Hey, everybody. Welcome to the 16th episode of the Fifth Quarter Collective. We're back again. Luke is not joining us just yet. He's holding out for higher salary, so hopefully we can get him re-signed. But guys, checking in. How is everybody doing? How is your weekend? How's the week been going?
Doing much
Good.
better. Because Luke's not here.
Doing fantastic. Things are great here. Things are doing A-okay.
You feel like things just flow a little better, Coleman? Not as much pressure?
I do. I'm so excited to talk Grizzly basketball, Colt football.
Yeah.
So I'm super, super excited to dive into those topics today.
Yeah. We just do a whole segment on John Morant and Jaren Jackson. He's already out, right?
Zach Edey, Rookie of the Year potential. Oh my God, we could dive into it. Joe Flacco for the Colts.
That's what I was thinking. Joe
Tony
Flacco
Richardson.
coming back.
Flacco, honest to God, I watched the game on Sunday. I watched the in tandem with the Ravens game. Joe Flacco's not lost a step.
Joe Flacco's still the lead.
He was mobile, too.
Yeah.
Legitimately. I'm not making that up.
Didn't he rip off like a 30-yard run?
He did.
Yeah.
It was I think it was whatever their Amazon Web Services or whatever the hell their thing is. It was the fastest Joe's ever run in his career.
Wow.
Like top speed.
He's aging like fine wine.
He's aging better than fine wine.
I saw a tweet after he ripped that one off, and they were like, does Joe even have a rushing prop for today? Which I thought was great. Yeah, no, some people were joking. He plays and throws a lot more consistently than Richardson. I don't think it'd be dumb to play him over him, but obviously
I don't think so.
Spend so much on Richardson, they're not going to bench him. But
I mean, like they put up 34 points and lost by a game-winning a field goal as time expired.
Right.
I mean, they're doing well.
Yeah.
1-1 with Joe under the helm.
Yeah, there's a lot of teams that could use him. I bet the Raiders would want him.
On that note, with the Raiders too, just going, why aren't the Browns starting famous Jameis? Like Watson's horrendous, and the Raiders probably could use famous Jameis. Like honestly, he's better than both of those QBs who are starting. Just throwing that out there. Thought I'd want your thoughts.
We can again take this back to Joe. Why didn't the Browns re-sign Joe?
Boom.
Who took them to the playoffs last year?
Yep.
They're lost. Their loss. Yeah, Watson's just been like kind of beating his worst stats every single week, and it's not pretty. But I think it's probably coming from the front office or something with all the money that they gave him. But yeah, I mean, they definitely should throw Jameis in there. Watson's kind of looking as lost as Bryce Young out there. He doesn't have what he used to have in him.
Why do you think he looks so bad?
He's probably not getting as many massages.
I was going to say something like that, but I was like a genuine question of like, why does he look so bad?
Yeah. He's real tense.
It looks like somebody messed with his mechanics in all seriousness. And he looks horrible throwing the football. Like if you look up how he threw it in college versus how he throws it now, like more like shot puts it straight forward rather than like comes across. It's really weird if you watch him throw. It looks like everything's trying to be pushed. Just my 2 cents.
Do you think they're going to deal Amari Cooper? Like people have been thrown out. They want third rounders or something like that for him. Do you think they end up dealing him before the deadline? I think if they keep losing and they throw Jameis, I don't know why you'd keep Amari Cooper when you could get some assets for him.
Right. Just go for it. I'd agree. Try to get as many assets as you can. Let famous Jameis sling it. Let him do his thing, 30 for 30.
Nick Chubb coming back, though, already back at practice with unreal healing timeline. He's obviously a beast. But him coming back, I really wonder if that'll help the offense. And they've always kind of been ground and pound since he's been there. But it's weird that he's almost going to be back sooner than Jonathan Brooks from the Panthers, who was supposed to have a much quicker timeline recovery. But it seems like every year all these injury recovery timelines get shorter and shorter. The first guy, though, to really do it was, I don't know if you guys remember what, like Adrian Peterson, when he came back so quick after that ACL, everybody's like, oh, he's Superman. And now it's almost like that's kind of the comment.
Rodgers last year could have came back.
Yeah, Rodgers coming back. That's crazy.
If they weren't so bad.
Yeah. Rodgers shooting down the rumors too, that he got their head coach fired.
Yeah, that he's probably going to say that for publicity, but behind the scenes, he definitely had something to do with it. Had to have.
Yeah, they said something like it happened almost immediately after Hackett was relieved of play calling duties.
Mm-hmm. And Hackett's his boy. Like they're like this. Back in Green Bay, they were together. So
yeah, if Hackett gets fired, maybe they just bring in James Jones as a head coach or something. But they got wide receiver 1 Alan Lazard cooking. So Hackett's doing something right. Who needs Garrett Wilson?
yeah, that's
That was an odd firing that I did not expect this early in the season. I don't think anyone expected that.
I don't think he's a bad coach. I think he's a decent coach.
Yeah, he's outstanding.
Offensively, they're horrible. Like it makes sense to demote the OC. That would make a lot of sense. I don't think many people.
But he's a defensive guy.
I know.
He's like the defense over the past couple of years has played really well. To be fair, he got really unlucky last year. Like that's not his fault. He did get really, really unlucky with the Rodgers injury, like play 5. But yeah, that's an odd firing.
Yeah, it like you were saying, now they have Rodgers back. Sure, it's a slow start, but this can't help things going forward, completely axing the head guy, and now Hackett's going to take the wheel. There's just they don't need that instability right now.
Yeah, and it's not like it was like a disgruntled locker room from like any of the things I've read.
Right.
The players liked him.
He'll have no issue getting you think he gets an immediate head coaching job, or do you think he's like Packers defensive coordinator or something like that next year? Because him and LaFleur have that coaching connection.
Gosh, that'd be great for the Packers if he could come there. That would be great.
I think it would depend on the job, to be honest.
Yeah.
Because I think now that he's had his head coaching experience and he's coached without a good quarterback. I'm saying this is not this year, but like the last year before, and so on. I think he's really going to be like very aware of the situation at that new team. Because I don't think he wants another, hey, we're going to win with defense type of team. He wants a stable quarterback.
Yeah. When we're looking at head coaches too, I don't know if you're as bothered by them as I am, but Antonio Pierce for the Raiders and then Gerard Mayo for the Patriots. Finally, Patriots pulling their heads out of their asses, and Drake May is going to be starting. I think it's against the Texans though, which that's not the team I'd want to have him start like his first game against. That's a very good defense, but clearly even I just thought he was delusional saying Brissett was our guy, and sure, sit some rookies, let them have some experience. I get all that, but seems like they were wasting a few games there. I think this should have been done immediately. And I really think May should open up that offense. But I don't know who bothers me more, Mayo or Antonio Pierce, too, who they just had the quarterback change with Minshew, now going with O'Connell. Him and Devontae aren't on great terms. It just seems like some player coaches that I don't know if they'll be along. I don't know if they'll be there very long. We'll have to see. I feel like their seats getting a little hotter and hotter.
The Raiders situation is terrible just because Devontae feels like he has way too much pull, in my opinion. And they're not putting their foot down at QB. Like, this is our guy. This is who we're rocking with. When you go back and forth like that, it's hard for the team to rally behind somebody.
Yeah, but they don't have a guy.
They don't.
Not a guy going forward.
All they got to do is just pick
not a guy going forward either. It's just like a shitty situation.
Fair.
They have Brock Bowers.
They do Brock Bowers.
Why don't you just throw it like 50? Why don't you try to do what the Giants do and just target Devontae like 15 times a game, like they're doing Malik Neighbors, and just get him his touches? Because that's their best offensive weapon. Like, use them.
With Hackett now being the head coach of the Jets, do you think this almost?
No, Hackett's not the head coach.
Hackett, no?
No, it's the DC defense coordinator, Ulrich.
Edit it out. Edit
that.
Gonna cut that.
Welcome back to episode 16.
Yeah, right. But the DC's the head coach for the Jets, Ulrich.
Yeah, well, how messy.
Going back to the Patriot hire, I didn't like the Mayo hire, to be honest with you.
Same.
I think if you let a guy go like Belichick, I feel like you have to go in and get like an experienced head coach.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I Nick Saban.
Right.
That would have been amazing.
That'd been electric. That'd be so good.
I wish they just teamed up and just coached like Navy or something like that.
Oh, Army Navy, so they could play each other every year. God,
hmm
that would be amazing.
Coach like an 8th grade football team in a small town.
Could you imagine? Like, oh yeah, QB son's coaching against Nick Saban today.
Yeah, no, think about it though. Like you could have had a staff at like some mid-major football team or like a Texas high school, like a big-time Texas high school 6A team. Belichick as your head coach. No, you would have had. I don't know. I don't know who would have been your head coach. You could have had Saban, Belichick, and Pete Carroll.
And don't forget, Coach O is the O line coach. You could bring him.
Oh yeah,
in.
Coach O. Like you could have had a star-studded cast of like ex NFL coaches this year,
That is
or ex
amazing.
NFL in college.
That is
Hey,
amazing.
Speaking of head coaches that might not be, we're not going to do a whole segment here on this team, but your boy Trent Dilfer, not looking pretty.
I was bringing this up today. I bet on UAB a couple weeks going into Navy, and that'll take us into a whole new thing. But UAB looks horrendous. I mean, bad. I think they lost by like 35 to Navy. They gave up 70 this week to. I'm pulling up. I forget who it was. Gave up 70 to Tulane. They lost 71 to 20 at home. They lost 41 to 18 at home against Navy, and they got crushed by Louisiana Monroe, 32 to 6. Like Dilfer, I get it. It's not his guys yet. He's only had less than a year here, but UAB looks bad. Giving up 71 points in a conference game, not a good look. Should have stayed
No.
on Marcelo on the Monday pod.
That
Go ahead, Jake.
no, I was just going to say that's all we can strive for. Monday morning pods with Rusilla. But yeah, go ahead, Bo.
Moving into upsets, how about Vandy versus Bama? First time. Vandy was 0-60 playing top 10 teams until they just beat Bama this past weekend. So if you guys wanted to touch on that.
Yeah.
Nashville was going crazy. I don't know if everybody at home saw, but they took the goalpost down to the Cumberland River, straight through Broadway. I did not help. I was not boots on the ground for this. I was out that night, but I did not see the goalpost go in the river. Apparently, though, during the night, the firefighters had to go into the river and get it out when it happened.
Dang.
Throwing that out there. Pretty wild on Nashville, but yeah, Vandy 0-60 until they just beat Bama, number 1 ranked Bama. So is this the greatest upset ever in college football?
I think it's probably the greatest one I've ever seen, and
the greatest one I've ever seen.
And it
no recency bias.
None. I think when you watch that game though, the thing that I love is it's not like Vandy, kind of caught Bama off guard or like it was a really bad game by Bama. Like Vandy just showed up and competed. Like they executed. I love Pavia, that quarterback who's just tough as nails. Post game interviews hilarious. He kind of, to me, he kind of embodies how they're changing some of the culture and toughness there. But awesome for Vandy. I think, Bo, you said 0-60 against top 25 opponents. I think that was their first
top 10.
Top 10. They were like 0-10 against number 1 overall in the country, and that was their first time doing that too. So it's obviously just Clark Lee, I think the coach's name is. He's changing the program.
No, like legitimately, like yeah, they've had again bad losses. They lost to Georgia State, which I don't know, scheduling purposes. I don't know why you schedule home and home with Georgia State. Neither here nor there. But yeah, good for Vandy beating Virginia Tech, beating Bama. Program is on the up and up. Shout out those Vandy students as well, carrying that goalpost probably about 2 miles from campus to the river. I mean, I've been to Vandy. I've been to Nashville a bunch of times. That's not an easy walk.
Dude, no. And with the goalpost? Are you kidding me?
Shout out to those fans. Good field storming. I know they stormed the field a couple years ago, which was kind of pathetic, but it was a good field storming by the Vandy students, even though they only had their one section and the rest was Bama fans. I watched the whole game, and Jake's completely right. To be honest, I bet the under. Didn't hit. When Vandy went up I think it was like 20-7 in the first quarter. I'm like, oh, we're not going to hit this, but we're watching something special. I'll say that.
Yeah, that's the thing I just more and more come to appreciate too, is just like close games like that. And I mean, it's easy to say when it's not Ole Miss. I mean, everybody saw us last week. We were all ready to jump off the balcony, but good for Vandy. They're always getting
Yeah,
beaten up on.
good for Arkansas too, beating Tennessee at home.
What a terrible. This would have kind of dog on Nico for a second, the QB for Tennessee. Obviously,
Iamaleava?
yeah. We're
I finally
down
got
to
that down. It only took me 2 weeks.
say it again. How do you say it?
Iamaleava?
Yeah, that guy, aka Nico, first
We
name.
talk about Tennessee like every week. How have we not learned to say his name correctly?
Nico's so much simpler than I
I
love
did
Ayla or whatever.
I did download Duolingo. I got it finally. Go ahead, Bo.
I was just gonna say he definitely showed being young on that last play of the game when time was expiring. All he had to do is just give somebody a shot, try to run it. Got pushed out of bounds like at the 10. That's just one of those things you're watching as a fan, like, oh, this is a young QB. Because obviously anybody who like knows the situation is like, give your guy a shot. Like if you throw a pick, nobody really cares. It's like just give somebody a shot to go up and get it. Do like what Lamar did to Isaiah Likely, running out of bounds across his body. I know Coleman, you were probably tuned in watching that one.
I was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but yeah, good for Arkansas winning that. Crazy the time of possession. If you guys watched, it was 15 minutes to 5 minutes, I believe. At one point in the game, Arkansas had the football compared to Tennessee.
Wow.
That's the same thing with Vandy. It was just time of possession. They like doubled it.
Yeah. Well, it's hard when you're a fast-paced offense. Like this happened when Ole Miss played Kentucky. If you're not getting first downs and you're off the field in 60 seconds, your defense is back on the field for 7 minutes straight. And especially if they're getting like 4th and 1 going for it and getting it, like that's just demoralizing for the whole defense.
It was a week in the SEC, but good for Ole Miss, though. Comeback, beat South Carolina, and then all of the teams lose outside of Texas.
Mm-hmm.
So that it bodes really, really well for us.
Yeah. A&M took Mizzou to the woodshed, and
I think that's the team you have to look out for.
that would I guess I just didn't see that coming. But did you call it last week? Who picked A&M last week when
I
we were
did.
going through our picks? Yeah, you Coleman, right? Yeah, you saw it. You're the Oracle.
Yep.
Oracle Coleman.
No, like legitimately, like A&M has like a legitimate shot to make the SEC championship. Like as a dark horse. They have no conference losses, and they finish up with Mississippi State, LSU, South Carolina, Auburn, and Texas.
Yeah.
That Texas game the last game of the season could literally determine who goes to the SEC championship and who does not.
Very true. Yeah.
Like
Definitely
I
true.
don't think that team is good enough. Okay, I take that back. I don't think Texas A&M is better than Ole Miss, Tennessee, Georgia, Alabama, Texas. But just the way the schedule worked out and the fact they lost to Notre Dame, but they've won the games that they needed to win and took care of business. They could sneak themselves into an SEC championship and into the playoff conversation.
Very true. Yeah, completely could. Speaking of, I heard LSU. Ole Miss is at LSU this weekend, and I believe the spread's -2.5. Last time I checked, Ole Miss favorites. Who you guys hammering?
I think I've seen
3.5. The line moved. Well, that's good for us. How are you guys feeling about the LSU game at LSU at night, 6:30 prime time in Death Valley, in Baton Rouge?
Nervous.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Yeah.
This is the one preseason I was looking at. Like this is when I was first looking at our schedule. The 3 games I was worried about was Oklahoma, LSU, and Georgia. Those are the 3 games. Obviously, we slipped up on Kentucky losing that, but
yeah, I think with that slip up on Kentucky, we can't lose this game.
Agreed. Can't at all.
Because you have Georgia, and yeah, you could slip up there 10-2, potentially make the playoff, but you can't slip up on LSU, who's lost to an average above average USC team,
right?
Who's now out of the polls.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, did you guys see the recent injury reports? Is Trey Harris going to be okay to go?
I don't know. Or Princely.
Yeah.
I'm not going to attempt that one. I have to do along with that.
Yeah. Yep, that guy, Prince.
We'll have to see, but we can't. We need to be healthy, for sure. They hopefully they can execute on some of those big chunk plays, unlike against Kentucky.
Yeah, I don't think it's so much for Ole Miss. I think it's of the time LSU's had to prepare for us. They had a bye week this past week, and before that, they played at home against South Alabama. So they've been looking at us on the schedule for probably 2 to 3 weeks, preparing
Right.
for us. And it's at night, Saturday night, Death Valley, ABC. It's not a great spot for Ole Miss, who's played 6 straight games already,
Mm-hmm.
5 straight games, whatever, however many we've played so far.
It's
So
going to be a big one.
it's a tough spot for us. And yeah, I think we're the better team on paper. Neutral site field, bowl game. Yeah, I think we beat LSU. I just think the odds aren't really in our favor.
It's going to be a great test. We're going to get to see how the boys play. I think if we win this, it tells a lot about Ole Miss. I think it really does.
But you know what's a true shame though is the fact that they scheduled this game the same time as Ohio State, Oregon.
Yeah.
Yep.
What the heck's up with that?
Well, it's NBC's first, not to talk like scheduling or anything like that, but fascinating topic in my opinion. This is NBC's like first big Saturday night Big Ten game. So you always knew this was going to be, at night, and the fact that ABC decided to schedule this for a night as well. I don't know. Just it's kind of a shame.
It's a bummer.
But because that's the biggest game of the weekend. I think 2 versus 3.
2 versus 3, I believe. I'm taking Ohio State, by the way. I think they're -3. Last time I checked, line could have moved, but taking Ohio State. I think they're just way too good. And Oregon, I think, slightly overrated, to be completely honest with you.
I would agree, but I'm going to take Oregon. Fun fact, fun stat that I've seen in the Big Ten: teams traveling more than 2 time zones are winless in the time zone that they're traveling to.
Dang.
So all the East Coast teams that have gone west have lost. All the West Coast teams that have gone east have lost. No matter
Interesting.
who they played. Washington lost to Rutgers. USC lost to Michigan. Michigan lost to Washington. Michigan State lost to Oregon, and so on. So 2 huge games of the Big Ten, also with Penn State traveling to USC on the same day.
Mhm.
So I'd be very, very interested to see, do the West Coast teams take it to the East Coast Big Ten teams? And I think Oregon does. I think Ohio State struggles in that kind of environment. They haven't played, just like Ole Miss, they haven't really played anyone just yet. Not saying Iowa is not a nobody, but, they're Iowa.
They're great at defense.
Yeah.
Let's give them that.
They're
They're
no
great
Indian.
at defense.
Yeah.
Kirk Ferentz is a wonderful human. Good for the cancer patients. But I don't know. I think it's a really tough spot on the road as your first true. Like, we're not saying Michigan State is not a true road test, because it is, but it's not the Breslin Center. But Autzen Stadium, Saturday night, Oregon's going to be pumped up. Biggest game of the year. I don't know. I think Oregon has it.
I'm also leaning with the Ducks simply because I don't love Ohio State. And like you were saying, I think that travel is going to bite them in the ass.
So what do you guys think Penn State USC then? Penn State going out west.
Only reason I'll pick Penn State in this is their QB rarely messes up. The one thing about that QB for Penn State is he's a great game manager. I don't think he's going to move the needle too much, but Penn State doesn't shoot themselves in the foot. So I'm going to go with Penn State.
I think USC. I don't know. I love Penn State's defense, like you were saying, Bo. Aller's very kind of like conservative, just making sure he's not turning the ball over. But Moss is great. They got some good weapons out there. Did you guys see too where they were complaining? Penn State's complaining now with these traveling out West Coast. They're having to drive, like, take a bus an hour to a different airport because the runway is too short at the typical.
Is it really?
That they take? Yeah.
Interesting. Didn't know that. Did not know that.
Yeah, they're not happy. So I don't know if you're already complaining about the travel and take an hour-long bus ride, that's not a good sign.
Get a bigger airport.
Yeah.
Penn State, you got money.
Add on to the runway.
Yeah, use some of that Big Ten conference money, that TV money that you're pulling in.
Yeah.
Build a longer runway.
Yeah.
Yeah, good point. Completely agree.
All I hear are excuses from Penn State, from James Franklin. I'm gonna pick USC. Again, pick the West Coast team. I think their defense is substantially better as well over the past couple of years. I don't think this is like the USC teams of old, where it's just like, hey, we have to score 56 to win. I think they have a comparable defense to many of these other Big Ten teams. And I just think them at home being more comfortable. And Miller Moss is a good quarterback as well. I really like USC at home in this spot, getting the points.
Yeah. USC.
Okay. All right, fine. I guess you guys are going against me in both West Coast games. That's nice. Thanks. I guess I know where I stand.
We're West Coast guys.
How'd I
West
forget?
Coast guys.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Before we go into any other games too, by chance, did you guys see Connor Stallions bussing with the boys interview at all? Did you catch this?
Only one.
I highly recommend it. I haven't watched, like, does he have like a Netflix documentary or something? I haven't watched that at all. I just saw the interview. This guy, a different level of like football psycho. He's breaking down his process, his manifesto, how he stole signs, how lots of these teams have different sign stealers. I just had to give that shout out because all you heard in the media was, oh, Michigan infractions. There's this guy who's stealing all this stuff. He knows his stuff. It's impressive kind of hearing how dedicated he was and how far he went to help the team that he's always loved, Michigan. So for me, great respect. Love the hustle. And I think we'd all do the same for Ole Miss if we had the opportunity. So I don't blame you. But go check out that interview if you have not seen that.
Let's get Stallions on the pod. Let's get him on the pod.
Yeah, we'll reach out.
Should be our first guest. One thing I read about him, like you were saying, is he went on to say the only schools that he thought didn't have sign stealers were Michigan State and Iowa, which I found interesting. He's like, everybody has them, but I'm just basically better than the rest. I was like, it makes sense to me. I mean, there was a rumor back Ole Miss like a decade ago at a GA that got hired at Bama, and then they found out he worked for the football team, and they paid him a ton of money to sit in the box and tell him what the play calls were. And technically, it's not cheating, but it's like, obviously, if you know they're running left, it's pretty easy to game plan that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love it.
You haven't seen the documentary?
No.
Watch that. It's good.
You liked it?
Yeah, it came out in August. It's pretty good. And he's like a football psycho.
Did you love that part of him though? Because that's what really I really enjoyed that. It's a different level, and you can see it in his eyes, like when he's talking.
Yeah, he loves football. That's not me.
Yeah,
I love the level of psychoness, like that he would be prepared to do all of these things to help Michigan win, and the fact that he wrote a manifesto.
Yeah, the manifesto is the craziest part.
Yeah, it's a little odd. I'll be honest.
it's the best. It's the best. I think, Coleman, your level of psycho, like your Connor Stallion inside of you, is for mid-major hoops. I think that's.
I don't think it's
that's
that
where yours
much.
is.
No, I really don't think so.
I think it is.
I don't think so. But yeah, no, the manifestos, it's a little much. I'll be honest.
I've started making mine.
Respect, brother, but a little much.
I'm on page 200 of my Ole Miss manifesto.
Oh, really? How Ole Miss is going to win the Natty in 2024?
Yeah. How to retain 200 pages of how to retain Lane Kiffin. That's what it is.
That's funny.
Yeah. Any other games this weekend coming up? I'm looking at the schedule that you got your eyes on at all?
We already touched on the two big ones of Ole Miss at LSU and Ohio State at Oregon.
UMass, Missouri. Oklahoma. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
What? Texas, Oklahoma. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Hook 'em.
Oh, yeah.
Easy.
I think they're 14.5 point favorites.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think Oklahoma hangs around.
I don't think so.
Has Texas played anybody like really, really good?
Michigan.
That's right. They stomped Michigan at
Yeah.
Michigan.
Michigan's down bad.
Michigan doesn't have a QB, sadly. Well, they have Orgy, but he can't throw the ball that well.
Against Washington because it was so bad.
And then they put back Warren. Is that the QB?
No, it was like Tuttle. Jack Tuttle.
Tuttle. Yep. Tuttle. Interesting. Yeah, I don't know of any big college games besides that. Do we want to switch up to hoops? Do we want to go to the NFL? What are we feeling?
I was going to look at NFL games. Just checking here.
Ravens Commanders. Big
game.
Two hot teams.
Who are you taking, Coleman?
I'm taking the Vens.
Homer.
Whatever. Whatever. They're 6.5 point favorites.
Yeah.
The Ravens? They're
Yeah.
6.5. Wow. I think I'm taking the Commanders in that one, honestly. Jane Daniels hot.
They have the better quarterback.
Yeah, I don't know.
You know what I like about the Commanders, Bo?
Huh.
They don't have a running back playing quarterback.
Interesting. Yeah, good point. I'm a huge Lamar fan, I will say that. So I can't sit here and dog on Lamar. Big fan.
Yeah, Lamar looked really good last week outside of that fumble.
Hey, what the hell did Mark Andrews do to Lamar Jackson's family or Harbaugh's family that he's just not being utilized at all? Like, Lamar underthrows him before he had a wide open touchdown, and you're telling me Isaiah Likely and Charlie Kohler are having more receiving yards and more touchdowns? That is ugly. I'm just speaking for all of the fantasy football community. Not what we want to see when you drafted Mark Andrews so high.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know what he did to him. But Isaiah Likely's been playing really well.
I ran a Twitter poll, X poll, I guess now. 100 votes. Mark Andrews won in a landslide for biggest fall off this year for the NFL. It was Mark Andrews, Travis Kelce, Keenan Allen. Andrews had like 70% of the votes. He's just been nothing.
Obsolete, basically.
Yeah.
Obsolete. Completely agree. Jake, who are you taking? Ravens, Commanders? Who are you taking?
Commanders. Yeah.
Yeah,
there you go.
Better organization, better quarterback.
Just bias.
Ravens
just not even worth entertaining.
Ravens just have a bad
worth entertaining with the response, considering the NFL got involved to fire the Commanders owner, forcing him to sell the team because of multiple allegations.
Hey, they have a better.
I believe sexual assault. Subject. Who are we voting for and why?
Commanders, because the Ravens suck. That's why. And Baltimore's just kind of breeds like a losing culture. You have the Baltimore Orioles.
Playoff team.
Couldn't get it done.
They won a division last year.
I just don't believe in the Ravens. Jaden Daniels is on fire. Unbelievable. And you have Brian Robinson. Austin Eckler, I guess, is on the roster, but he might as well just turn into Mike Tolbert and go block.
Yeah, I have no doubt that like Washington actually like is pretty good. But judging from they haven't played anyone. The only team over 500 currently that they've played, they've lost. Give up 37 points to the Bucks. They went on to beat the Giants week 2, which they should not have. Beat the Bengals, which is a good win. And then Arizona and then Cleveland. I don't know. I think it'll be a good test for them.
Yeah, it'll be a good game. I think you're right. The other game I was looking at here was am I insane for liking the Giants over the Bengals?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I think Cincinnati's a lot better than we think.
I do too.
Yeah.
I do too. I think they're pretty good. They just have had a horrendous start. Like people who are already out on Burrow, it's like pump the brakes a little bit. Burrow's still that guy, in my opinion. He's just having a little bit of a rough stretch.
And defensively, they look horrible.
It's hard to win when you don't stop anybody and you're all offense. I know Ole Miss had that about 3-4 years ago. We'd win either like 50-52 or 40-41 every game.
Packers, we'll see. They got, shout out to our friend Noah. I think they got the Cardinals this weekend.
In
Shut up.
in Arizona?
I think it's in Arizona. Let me see. Nope. It's in Lambeau.
Go Pack, go, baby. That's easy.
You saw all this shit with Romeo Dobbs last week?
Yeah, so apparently skips practice twice, gets suspended, and then there were people around the league calling the Packers about getting him for a trade, and the Packers declined. Like, we don't want to trade him.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. I don't know if he's going to be even playing this week. Don't know what's going on, if he's back on the field, but very odd. Like, get your shit together. Unless something happened behind the scenes that, like, we don't know about, that'd make a lot more sense, but
Well, that's what I'm thinking, because Malik Willis was playing for 2 weeks. I don't know why you'd be complaining about, well, a lot of receivers are divas, but it's just it's odd. I do think, Bo, like you're saying, there's probably something more that we haven't been told, which is why I'm waiting for like another story to be leaked or something, because it's just very, very strange.
yeah, hopefully he's back on the field Sunday. I mean, we need as many wideouts as we can get because we won last week without our 1 and 2 in LA versus the Rams. Watson's out and Dobbs being out. It's great. We basically just have guys who run routes. Like, we don't have a true number one, like where like a Devontae like we used to have, or Jordy Nelson, where they line up. The defense is like, that's their guy. This is the guy we got to cover.
I know it's bad organization.
Coleman, I think it only proves it's even better. I mean, we're out here winning without first-round draft picks at wide receiver. Didn't you guys get Rashad Bateman in the first round, or was that the third-round draft pick?
I think it was a first-round pick a couple years ago.
Haven't heard much about him since he's been in the league over there at Baltimore.
No,
yeah.
we haven't really. Okay, Zay was good.
Good pick.
Outside of that, we haven't really hit on like first-round wide receivers. Bateman, Hollywood Brown. Baltimore does not have a long history of drafting, at least recently, of drafting receivers well in the higher rounds of the draft.
At least you didn't take N'Keal Harry. Talk about flop. Now he's playing tight end.
Yeah.
That haunts me. That I had a very high draft grade on him. DK Metcalf is what everybody wanted N'Keal Harry to be.
It's just not it. Person I was completely wrong on is Malik Neighbors.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, when we're looking at guys jumping back and making an impact, Juju Smith-Schuster filling the role for the Chiefs, coming in with like 120, 130 receiving yards. Yes, he had a really bad drop. He should have had also a touchdown, but I kind of love to see it.
Yeah, I'm kind of, in a weird way, like pulling for him in a weird way.
Yeah. And they got Kareem Hunt back, just putting the old squad back together.
Shout out.
It's like old school. It's like old school playing football.
What's Jeremy Maclin up to? Give him a call.
Jamal Charles. You think he'd come back out?
Yeah. Dwayne Bowe.
Oh, that's a name I haven't heard in a while. Dwayne Bowe.
This I think the evolution of this podcast will eventually just be us throwing out random sports names for an hour, calling it a night.
Nothing wrong with that at all. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Any of the games you guys are eyeing up or want to shift to hoops?
I'm ready to switch to hoops. If you are, Coleman.
You saw the biggest thing to happen in NBA preseason so far with the Knicks?
No.
And no, I'm not talking.
Oh, how have you not seen this?
I'm not talking about Cat. I'm not talking about Brunson. I'm talking about the Costco boys storming the court and Big Justice hitting a mid-range jumper. I thought it was photoshopped. I thought it was AI generated, but they were literally out there scrimmaging.
Hit a nice jumper.
Yep.
Like legitimately, like it was actually a half decent play.
Yep.
What? So these Costco guys like storm the court and play one-on-one or something?
No, dude. I think it was like a celebrity like halftime game during like the preseason game. They had like the whole Costco universe out there.
Interesting. I did not know this happened. This is actually pretty cool.
The Costco.
It's touted as the new big three: Big Justice, AJ, and the Rizzler.
I love how you refer to it as the Costco universe. I think that's so true.
It is. It's so they've been all over my TikTok. I think, and they have characters now that just keep like spawning up, like Mother of Big Justice, the sister who's I don't remember her name, and I keep saying that, but I don't remember her name. And then like Jersey Joe.
Jersey
I
Joe.
don't like him. I don't like him. He does the weird dances. I don't like him. But like they keep spawning up from this like the Costco universe. It's like Marvel or like DC.
Nothing
the
wrong with
multi.
that. Yeah, I mean, nothing
Yep.
wrong with that.
But no, the new big three: Rizzler, AJ, and
Who's
Big
the
Justice.
Who's the Rizzler? I behind
He's
the
that little
times.
chunky kid who does like the thing with his like that.
This thing, that guy.
Yeah,
All right, I know what we're talking about. Yeah,
he's a
yeah,
sweet kid.
yeah. Okay.
He puts fucking baby Gronk to shame. No one likes him. Him
Whatever
and his
happened to
father.
Hezbollah? Remember that guy?
Yeah, he's still out there. All the midgets.
Yeah.
But they're like kids. But Hasbullah's like a man,
Hezbollah is
so that's
yeah,
kind of weird.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Wow. Well, this took quite the
this is a
segue.
diverse podcast. But like AJ though, he's kind of weird. I'll be honest, a weird dude. But Big Justice he's pretty fucking cool.
Yeah, the dad definitely gives me.
Yeah.
I don't know. I question him.
Yeah, big time.
Not in any way other than like kind of utilizing his whole family for fame and views, which maybe that's their goal. Do whatever you want. But
Yeah, I mean they've got there. They tried to attempt the world's loudest boom at the FAU game 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
They didn't get it. It's not the Costco guys' fault. It's kind of FAU's fault for not having the attendance to show up to the non-conference football games. But that's neither here nor there.
They should have pumped the sound into the stadium.
I think they needed to.
Yeah. Well, we just lost all of our listeners there. So moving on to actual basketball talk.
No, I think this is going to be like the highest driver of listeners.
You
Yeah.
think so? The
Who else
Costco
is
guys?
talking the Costco Big Three? Where else are you going to get that?
Are we debating Cat versus Big Justice in the Rizzler?
Okay, seriously though, who would you take? What?
Yeah, Costco guys.
Do you want to? No, here. Let me say this.
Yeah.
You have Brunson, you have Cat, and then you have Josh Hart. You're gonna take those three, or the Rizzler, Big Justice, or AJ.
Costco guys.
You think so?
I think so. Even though I think Cat, he might be as disliked as AJ, which is kind of a funny comparison.
Yeah.
I don't know all the people playing, so I'll take the NBA players, but it seems like quite an obvious thing.
You obviously didn't see the mid-range jumper.
It was honestly, I was pretty impressed.
But the
I'll be
Rizzler's like 5 feet, right? It's like a short.
No, he's less. He's probably like 4'2". He's like 8, I believe.
Oh,
Hey,
okay.
He's like not old.
he's 100% heart. That's what matters.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I'm going to stick with the NBA guys. All right. Let's move to something somewhat serious. Let's talk Duke basketball. I know Coleman and I wanted to touch on Knicks. Coleman, would you like to take it away first?
I went out Friday for like happy hour, and then I got home. I don't like drinking so much like real late at night anymore. In my older age, I like drinking during the day, like real men.
Mm-hmm.
So I got home, and I immediately found out Duke's blue white like Midnight Madness game was on ESPN Plus. Immediately turned it on for the second half. I wanted to watch Cooper Flag, but the guy that stood out, yes, Con Knipple looked good and also has probably the best name. No, not the best name in college hoops. Top 10 college hoops name this year. Con Knipple. But he's just fun to say. Rolls off the tongue well. But their center from, I want to say, Senegal, Malawak, who is a top 10 pick in Jonathan Gaboni's most recent NBA draft. He looks phenomenal.
Really?
Yeah. He could be better than Cooper Flag.
So
Really?
Duke to the Natty is what I'm hearing.
Duke looks really, really good this year. Because I watched Duke, and then I watched the Arizona Midnight Madness game right after Duke. Doesn't even come close.
what I like to hear. Coleman, I'm making you a Duke fan as of today. You have to be a Duke fan with me.
I'll watch Duke this year. Yeah, I'm going to watch a ton of Duke this year.
Love it.
But yeah, there's a couple. Proctor didn't look great. I'm nitpicking a fucking scrimmage right now.
As you should. As you should.
Didn't look great. If we're comparing like Duke to Arizona games, Caleb Love looked a lot better. But there's still time. Duke's going to be very, very good this year, and I think it's going to be that from like a non-college basketball junkie. The two teams you're going to want to watch this year, especially from an NBA perspective, are Duke and Rutgers. Rutgers is going to be a lot of fun with what's Ace Bailey and how's the other guy's name? I completely forgot his name.
That one guy. Okay, good to know. Yeah, but Con Knippel. Go ahead. Who's the other guy's name? Do you have it?
Malawak.
Yeah, those two are the people to look out for. Then you got Cooper Flagg. Proctor is the guard, but he's looked shaky and inconsistent. Obviously, people are touted as he's like probably one of the best guards in the country. But compared to how composed Roach was when Roach played for Duke, I don't think he's on the same level yet. I think he will be. I don't know who the fourth starting for Duke will be. I know those are probably 4 out of the 5 right there, but they'll be fine. I mean, Cooper Flagg's obviously, if he's not jumping off paper yet, it's probably a good thing given that they have that much talent around him. It's only going to make him better, him being the number 1 player in the country. Jake, any thoughts on Duke basketball?
No thoughts as of today. No thoughts. Have to dive into the tape a bit more.
Secret scrimmages are around the corner.
Dude, that's the best. When you start hearing leaks about the scrimmages, those are the best.
Yeah, a couple of them are televised this year.
Are they really?
Yeah, I know Michigan State's playing, I think like Northern Michigan in like the world's largest like wooden dome in like Northern Michigan. It's going to be televised on the Big Ten Network.
Awesome.
North Carolina's playing Memphis on like ESPNU on like a random Thursday night.
Luke's tuning in.
Do what?
You think Luke's going to tune in?
If I were Luke, I would tune in. Dylan Harper. I'm sorry, that's the Rutgers name. I'm sorry.
It's all good.
They're going to be really fun per Rothstein and John Rothstein's reactions. By the way, those are the most fun things I think to watch. How he gets so into these, like him at practice in a full suit, just phone right here, recording. I think they're the funniest things of the entire college basketball offseason.
Yeah, I wish I had that much passion about some type of subject. Because it is top tier content. I love it.
It really is.
Yeah.
But no, Ole Miss also plays Colorado State in South Haven, which is a good secret scrimmage for them. Oh, and then I don't know if you guys saw, Fifth Quarter Collective might be taking a trip to Maui next year.
Oh, are we going? Are we going back?
I think we are. I think we should.
No.
Ole Miss and Maryland were invited to play in the next year's Maui Invitational.
And I'm in. Locking it in. I'm in. I'm there.
Get the flights booked.
Get the flights booked, hotels booked. Now, granted, it's not a great cast of characters going down to Maui next year because they invited Ole Miss. No offense, Ole Miss hoops. We're on the up and up. And Maryland. I think the top tier team is like Notre Dame. They'll be there, but they're having the new tournament that's starting this year, the NIL tournament in Vegas. I think a lot of teams are opting out of Maui for the NIL tournament in Vegas now.
Yeah, they can have fun in Vegas, dude. We're going to Hawaii. Who cares? That'll be fun. And we can win it too.
Big for the Ole Miss basketball, big for the Maryland basketball programs.
Coleman, how's the conversation going to go when we have to talk to the ladies, being like, hey, yeah, so we're going to go to Hawaii. And then they get all excited. And then you're like, well, I'm going to go to Hawaii with everybody else from the Fifth Quarter Collective to go.
Yeah, hey, we're going to Hawaii. Oh, when? That's awesome. It's Thanksgiving week, so we're not gonna do family time. And
it's a business trip.
Think of it as a business trip. Why is it a business trip? Well, we're gonna spend some time, majority of the day in a small enclosed gym in Maui where they only sit about 3,000 people, and we're gonna sit there day after day and watch hoops.
We could do a pod on the beach. We could do a beach pod.
Yeah, you guys can sit on the beach. Unfortunately, we're all going to be in a small gym, and make the pilgrimage out to Maui for the Maui Invitational. So
sounds like a good
yeah,
vacation.
I don't know how that conversation's going to go, but we'll try.
Well, I'll let you know I'm in. I'm there, completely there.
It's an uphill battle.
If we look at it as a business trip, and we somehow get some interviews with some of the players.
No, but if you really think about it, it is a once in a lifetime experience to go to do the Maui Invitational.
Yeah, and what do they always say? Invest in yourself, right? That's basically what that is.
How many times is Ole Miss and my dear beloved Maryland basketball gonna play in Maui at the same time? That may never happen again in my lifetime.
Yeah. Fun fact. I actually have been Bo and I back in the day.
Back in the
Went
day.
to Maui Invitational.
Yep. We've been there, Coleman. We've been there. We are the vets of the Maui Invitational.
We flew on the same flight as Wisconsin Badgers. And funny enough, our dad was almost late for the plane along with one of the freshmen on the Badgers. So Bo Ryan was trying to figure out where everybody was at. Bo Ryan sits in the back of the plane, very back of the plane, because he says he's never seen a plane go down tail first. So some interesting tidbits. Great time. Hey, Maryland was in that tournament when we went, Coleman. Guess the guard, their star guard.
What year?
09.
Greaves Vasquez?
Yes. Yes. Outstanding.
Trayvon Hughes is starting point guard for the Wisconsin Badgers for all those Wisco junkies out there.
Yeah. Good times.
John Lure, is he there playing? Think so? Yeah.
Lure might have been, yeah. Lure's probably still there.
Wow.
Yeah, we might have to run it back. We might have to take the pod to Hawaii.
I'm completely there. You know how fun it would be to go to Hawaii with the boys for a business trip? And yeah.
Question to you guys. If you had to go to a preseason tournament, which preseason tournament would you want to go to? You can't say Maui.
Battle of Atlantis. That's probably the one I'd go to. It's the first one that comes to my head. I know the Badgers just played in it, and it looks so cool. Believe it's in the Bahamas, right?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, that's probably where
They
I'd
play
go.
it in like the Atlantis Convention Center.
Do they
So you
really?
can like tell when they like pan to it, like the roof is like convention center roofs.
Interesting.
They like warm up on carpet.
That's so awesome.
I'll answer your question. Do you guys remember the freaking first game of the season that was on the Battleship a few years back?
Yeah. Was it a Michigan State and Gonzaga?
Yes. Dude,
Yeah.
bring back those games. That was one of the coolest games ever played.
Well, that takes a lot of planning with like weather, wind.
Yeah.
Mother Nature.
Mother
That was
Nature.
crazy.
It's got to be sunny one of those days, right? It's got to be sunny one of them.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Sorry, I digress. Back to preseason tournament. You said there's one in Vegas with NIL?
What's new? It's like the new NIL tournament that they're doing. It's like 2 pods of 4 teams, and the winner, like each team gets a certain amount of prize money up to where they finish.
Send me there. I can waste a few days in Las Vegas.
Yeah, but like there's other tournaments in Vegas. Would that be the one you'd want to see?
Yeah,
like Ole Miss is playing in Vegas this year. I think the Continental Tire something.
Whatever gets me closest to the Bellagio.
Good answer. It's a really good answer.
We'll run the tables.
Coleman, what about you?
Submit to Charleston. It's like always like the first. No, yeah, Charleston. I was going to say I was between that and the Diamond Head Classic over Christmas, but that's fine. Send me to Charleston. It's like always like one of the first tournaments every year, and the games tip off at like 11 a.m.
Dude, morning basketball is so great.
No one in the stands. You get all like the good like East Coast mid-major teams.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like the 5th quarter is going to be traveling soon. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Well, it's not soon.
It's
ready.
It's
soon. Be ready for the live show tickets.
14 months from now, we'll set up tickets on a public beach.
Dude, that'd be so great. You know how awesome that'd be? Just put up a little table.
Bring your own lawn chair. None provided.
Set up at a bar. Like the Field of 68 last year at the fucking like title game.
Tiki hut.
Mm-hmm. Do the pod shirtless. Because you're in Maui.
do it on a boat in the water. You know how fun that'd be on a catamaran? I'd probably get sick, but who cares?
Losers. Take your Dramamine.
All right.
Hey, it doesn't work. It doesn't work for all of us, Coleman.
Coleman, I'm a land mammal at heart. Okay, I belong on land.
But yeah. So big stuff in college hoops. NBA starts up shortly. Like 2.5 weeks. Hoops and college hoops in like 3 weeks. Things are slowly turning.
Yeah.
Hoops are on the horizon.
We'll have to do a full kind of preview. We'll have to do a preview of college basketball and some NBA talk.
Yeah, you guys want to do a hockey breakdown?
Yeah, because I'm just so well versed.
Go Utah.
Yeah, forewarning, this pod is not a hockey-focused podcast. You will not hear any of us talking hockey ever.
Probably not. Probably not. Probably not. I actually might go to a hockey game, funny enough.
They're fun. Preds games are a lot of fun. I've been to one or two.
Preds games are cool. I might go to one in Ottawa, though, funny enough. Might be going up north. Beyond the border.
Getting deported?
Not getting
Found
deported.
out?
No. Close friend of mine lives up there. He said I should come. They got season tickets, so be a fun trip.
Love it.
Gosh, this has been quite the
a lot of twists and turns.
Yeah, shout out Big Justice. Shout out AJ. Shout out the Rizzler.
Shout out Luke.
Shout out Luke. Shout out Luke.
Amazing, guys. Well, I think with that,
subscribe. It's the most diverse podcast you'll find on the internet.
Exactly. Yep. Please share.
Rants this week. Shout out to that Royals fan who mentioned us in the comments. We read them. You're the only one who commented, so we definitely read it.
Yes, we definitely saw it. What about the
definitely
CFL?
Saw it. Oh yeah.
CFL coming after Jake.
Yeah, let me take a minute on that. Yeah, I had the CFL community coming after me on X. I follow zero of CFL. Deshaun Watson's been horrible. I just tweeted out there with an old video from earlier this year of Chad Kelly, who's on the Argos. I said, hey, Chad Kelly, he's still got some gas in the tank. He should go to Cleveland. And the CFL fans got a hold of that, got retweeted by one of the CFL fan accounts, and they were going after me. And it was quite funny. The best thing about it, though, was they really think the CFL is comparable to the NFL.
It is. Have you not watched it before?
It's not. It's not, Coleman.
Not Coleman.
Not in product, not in quality.
Well, when Bo goes to Ottawa, he can find out for us. Boots on the ground.
I was going to be there for a CFL game and had personal things I had to take care of. I was in the hospital. But maybe next season. Maybe next season I'll be up there.
All I got to say, Canada, calm down. Take the back seat.
Great national anthem, by the way. Oh, Canada, whenever they play, it's always kind of a banger. So just throwing that out there.
That's treason.
It's not treason. We're still better than them, in my opinion. I mean, we're number one. But I'm just saying, you got to respect it. They got a good national anthem. Yeah. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm going to report you. Okay.
Cut that. It's a pro-America podcast.
This is only pro-American pods. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
We're talking about international sports.
And, well, aren't we pro-international prospects or no?
Yes.
but they're coming to play for the NBA. So
Yeah.
True.
Okay, fair. I understand.
All right, guys. Thanks again for tuning in. Like, subscribe, and share.
Comment. We appreciate them all.
Yeah.
Good or bad.
Until next week, everybody.
Oh, Canada.